Hey, what's up YouTube? This is 17 Krishankas here, and I'm finally back with another Pokemon battle, and might I say, and I'm just bragging on my team here, this is probably one of the greatest Pokemon battles I have ever done in any game. So as you can see, my opponent has three legendaries, Raikou, Cresselia, and Heatran, and of course these both are all three awesome legendary Pokemon in their own ways, and I have Chansey, Conkeldurr, and Durant. You really don't see Durant all that much, and I really wish that you did, because he is, and I aptly named him Kevin Durant because Udara MVP. He really is. He is insanely good, and he really works well with the choice band, especially in this battle, as you're going to see. And so, like I said, I have Conkeldurr. This is Samantha. I tried to come up with a creative name that was a girl, because I had a girl Conkeldurr, and I was like, you know, Samantha. Cement, because it has pillars of cement. Why not call it Samantha? And then, of course, the Incubator, my dreaded Chansey. And so, yeah, interesting team. And so, now you're going to see how these kind of out there Pokemon, well, Conkeldurr is definitely used a lot, but how these kind of random Pokemon come together to work out really well against these legendaries. And so, I really didn't know, I think he had pretty much all legendaries on his team except for like one. And so I think he had like Terrakion, so that might have been a different battle. But he starts off with Heatran, and I'm like, oh great, because I start off with Chansey, and as you know, her moveset is like Toxic and Aromatherapy and Counter. And since no one runs a physical Heatran, I have to switch out and I can't poison it. So I switched out to Conkeldurr, expecting probably a fire attack. It ends up going for Toxic. I mean, this was kind of surprising to me, because you don't really see a whole lot of like tanky Heatrans. Usually they're just kind of like Lava Plume, Flash Cannon, Stealth Rocks, and stuff like that, but I rarely see Toxic. And so obviously, expecting something like a Drain Punch or a Mach Punch, he switches out to the Pokemon that can resist, and that's Cresselia. So, yeah, I'd used Drain Punch, and it actually, okay, yeah, it didn't do that great of a chunk. But for a defensive Cresselia, I thought it did a fairly decent chunk. But of course, the HPR restore doesn't matter because I get hit by the Rocky Helmet and the second turn of Toxic, so I take a good amount of damage. And obviously, I'm not going to switch, I'm not going to stay in here on a Psychic type. Expecting a Psyshock, I switch out to my Steel type, Kevin Durant. So, actually, it actually ends up going for a Toxic, and so I'm thinking, alright, I know it's going to switch out back out to Heatran. And so, I go for something other than the Rock Slide because Rock Slide has that shaky 90% accuracy, and so I end up going for Crunch, because at least it's a neutral hit on Heatran. And so, even with the Choice Band, it does about a third damage, but it drops its defense. So I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I can at least do some good damage to it and get some leftover HP. And so I'm sitting here thinking, you know, as long as I can do some damage, Durant's done his job. He gets a crit and kills Heatran. It's just insane, dude. He was the MVP of this match. And obviously, Raikou could obviously one-shot me with Thunderbolt or something. And so I switch out, trying to preserve Durant, especially for Cresselia. So I switch out to my special tank, Chansey. So, I come out, it comes out using Thunderbolt, and obviously doesn't do anything to me, and that is with a Life Orb and Stab. And so it goes and uses Volt Switch. Obviously it's not going to stay in on a special defensive Pokemon. And so that was a crit. That was a crit, and it did a little bit, it did a good bit more than Thunderbolt. So, Life Orb Raikou, definitely not a bad idea. And so it switches back out to Cresselia, who is a shiny Cresselia, by the way. And so I go ahead and poison it. I was originally going to poison Raikou too, so obviously I'm expecting something from this thing, status or psychic. So I switch back out to Durant because Durant's really the only thing on my team that can take out this thing and has any chance. Now if this thing had Thunder Wave, I might have lost the match, but actually I avoid Toxic instead of being immune to it, which is interesting. And so I set up an X-Scissor. This is a Choice Banded Stab X-Scissor. It still does not kill this thing. It has got to be bold-natured with the Rocky Helmet. So, of course, it uses Moonlight. So, yeah, that's how Cresselia do the stall. So, yeah, half HP. But back down below half after the poison. So, yeah, drop another X-Scissor, and down goes Cresselia for the count. And so, as you can see, Durant has already taken down 2 legendary Pokemon. It's just, it's insane, man. He was the MVP of this match. Now, sadly, trying to get some Life Orb damage on this Raikou, I just sack him because I know he's going to outrun me, and if I switch to Conkeldurr, Conkeldurr is going to take way too much damage, so I have to sack Durant here and sacrifice Kevin. So that really was a shame, but it was for the benefit of the whole team. And so, switch back out to Chansey, special tank, hits with the Thunderbolt. Before I do Toxic, I don't want to risk any crits, and so I go ahead and go for a soft boil and try and get as much HP as I can, because I do not want to take a crit and lose Chansey to a special attacker. And so it's steadily losing damage from Life Orb, and so I'm going to try and put the odds better in my favor with some help from Toxic. And so I'll go ahead and use Toxic on Raikou so I can have Life Orb damage as well as Toxic damage whittling away at this thing. And so, yeah, it's just basically a stall game because I still have Raikou sitting in the back. And so he ends up forfeiting. Probably a good move because a Mach Punch from Conkeldurr probably would have finished him off. So, definitely an awesome battle. One of my absolute best of any Pokemon game. Just a great match. Just a good team on the opponent's side. I'm serious. Having two Toxic Pokemon and two very bulky. Cresselia's insanely bulky. The video just got cut off for some reason. And so, yeah, definitely cool to see teams like this. But I'm not a huge proponent of using legendaries on a team in Wi-Fi matches. But even so, it just goes to show that with the right team setup and the right coverage and the right resistances, you can really take down some legendaries. Even like the Reggies, as bulky as they are, have weak points and stuff. So every legendary has that thing that makes them weak. I mean, Celebi has a 4 times weakness to stuff like U-turn. Genesect has a 4 times weakness to fire. So you have to really play around with different legendaries' weaknesses and strengths and stuff. So even legendaries take some skills sometimes. Now, of course, ones like Mewtwo and Zekrom and stuff don't really take a whole lot of strategies. Just take brute force. So, but yeah, for Pokemon like Heatran, Cresselia, Raikou, Entei, and all these others, Suicune especially is fun to play as. But overall, legendaries are interesting. It's really cool to actually see pretty much all legendary team on the match. So, especially with Pokemon like Durant and Chansey actually winning the match. And so I'm going to shut up now and end the video. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. And be sure to like and comment on this video. Tell me what you thought about it. Tell me if you've ever actually beat any legendaries on your own. Give me the battle codes if you guys have them on Wi-Fi. I definitely want to see them. I've had the pleasure of watching some legendaries get beat down by the most crazy Pokemon. So it's always cool to see that. And as always, thank you guys for watching. And I'll see you guys next time with another video. Later, guys.